Welcome everybody to a new live stream of Flower Circus Talks. Today we're going to talk about a beautiful flower, the hydrangea. And for that we have one of the best growers in Holland of the hydrangeas. Actually, they're not only a grower, they're also a breeder. So I think we can hear the whole story about the hydrangeas. So let's quickly invite Bartjan Kolk into the live stream so he can tell us all about the hydrangeas. Bartjan, welcome.
Hello, John. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very fine. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. You're having a big smile, but I can see why. You got a beautiful card with hydrangeas behind you.
Yeah. I thought it was a good idea to show the hydrangea in live form. So I put the trolley in, so we have a nice view.
Yeah, and that's the trolley that's tomorrow is going to be auctioned.
Not tomorrow, but the day after, Friday.
Okay. Oh yeah, of course. Tomorrow's a day off.
Because tomorrow there's no auction day, but Friday they're standing there, and
Okay.
they will auction. Yes.
Yeah, maybe after this interview they're already sold. So let's see. Cookie is saying hello. Hello, Cookie. Thank you for watching.
Good afternoon.
Yeah. So, Bartjan, can you tell us a bit about the company and yourself, of course?
Let's start where it all started. My father was starting his company almost 60 years ago, and he started with roses, cut roses.
Yeah.
With a lot of companies in nearby Aalsmeer that were growing roses, and he has been doing it for a long time, until 1995. And because of the import coming from Africa and the middle of America, we were standing for the choice: should we invest in more putting up lights, everything, and update our greenhouse, or shall we look at something else, like, for example, hydrangeas? And we were one of the first growers that were starting with growing hydrangea as a cut flower. In these times, there were only like 3 or 4 growers doing this, and we started with varieties that were suitable for pot plants and not really cut flower. So we had to learn a lot about how we could still make a good profit with limited flowers that were given from one plant.
Yeah, but also probably the length was a problem.
Yes, also the length was a problem. But the biggest challenge was there's really a big difference between pot plants and cut flower varieties. And that's mainly in the, like for pot plants, you have you have a cutting, you few times, you have a skeleton, you give it some cold, and then you let it become into the blooming.
Yeah.
Like 13 weeks, and then you have flowers on a plant, and you sell the plant, and that's it. But we are looking for varieties that are growing on 1-year wood. That means that you have a pruned plant, and then stems are coming up, and in the same year it will produce flowers. That's our main. That's what we really want to achieve. That's really important for us.
Yeah.
And we're trying to do after, like in 1997, 98, we started breeding new varieties, looking in the old assortment. In England gardens, we could find really old varieties that were not suitable for pot plants, but were really suitable for us. So we started to select and try to get new ones. And that has been a really good success. And a really good example is, for example, the Verena.
Yeah.
So one of the most popular hydrangea in the market at this point, but also for a very long time. Everybody who's in the flower industry and has to do with hydrangeas knows the Verena.
Yeah.
It's a really good hydrangea for the grower because it doesn't have a lot of problems with the climate when there's a lot of heat in the summer.
Yeah.
There are a lot of varieties that are closing the flower buds and not open up in late season, but the Verena has not so much problems with this. And what's also really important is for the buyers and the exporters to foreign countries, when you put them in the box, they will come out with no problem at all. There is no damage, They are sturdy and hardy, but not vulnerable. That's
Yeah.
a good thing about it.
I can even hear it when you were touching it. It was very
Yeah.
sturdy, and that's a variety that you
Yeah.
breed it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Kuki is saying, and he knows something or a lot about flowers. Travels very well too.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
It works really well, and
Yeah.
that's really important.
And
People,
with a normal flower, with other flowers, then we ask, do you have them in different colors as well? But
yeah.
that's
Now,
a special story in the hydrangeas, right?
tell you something about it because I have this pink one walking by, but I also have the blue one. And what is really special with hydrangea is that this Verena, this pink one, and this blue one are really similar. They are just even. But what's the big difference? This one has been grown on normal soil with a pH of 5, between 5 and 6, and this one
Yeah.
4. So this hydrangea was capable to absorb aluminium, and the aluminium ion makes the color for us to see blue. But it's really
Wow.
similar. It's the same variety. So that's really
Yeah.
that's
Actually, so
nice to see.
if you and how quickly does it change the color, or does it need to be like that from the beginning?
If I would treat this one with a low pH and try to make it blue, it will make like not a really blue color, but a lavender, lilac. Yeah, it's not really really blue, but between pink and blue. But there's also
Okay.
we play a little bit with this.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. So it's the same cutting, the same plant. It's brother and it's family, and but it's only the pH that's making the difference.
Yeah, that's that marks the color. Yes,
Yeah.
and that's why we
So
say the chameleon hydrangea is our challenge. Now it's all in the word, and it's not only few colors we have, because if we leave them on the plant like this pink Verena, we can choose, we can decide which color we want to achieve, because the longer
yeah.
this flower will stand on the plant, the greener it will get. So we have pink green, and then green with a little bit pink, and later on totally green, and after that even they get red tips on these
Yeah.
petals. So that's really nice. You have different stages, and the later you will cut the hydrangea, the better the phase life will be.
Yeah, because they are not absorbing as much water anymore as they do in the beginning, of course.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. That's what I remember from long ago. That yeah, in the beginning of the hydrangea season in Holland, we were just walking through all the trolleys of hydrangeas and
Touch.
touching everything to see if we found some sturdy hydrangeas, because I was working for an export company who was exporting to the United States and Japan. So then you really need to find the good ones.
I know all about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, you're breeding new varieties, and you do this for the cut flowers quite successful. You
Yes.
won a trophy with it as well with one of the varieties.
Yeah. The glazed tulip. It's an award I won with the Royal Flora Holland glazed tulip competition, and you could be nominated. And with a few other cut flowers, I went to the final, and yeah, I made it and won the first prize. And that was with Spike. That's a hydrangea that has like spikes on top of the petals. It's a really special hydrangea.
Yeah. So that was I've got a picture. I think this is the picture of Spike. And it's about all the flowers and all the introductions of a whole year. So that's a very special prize to receive.
Yeah, I'm really honored to have won this prize, of course.
Yeah. And again, for Spike, it works the same as every other variety. If you play with the pH, then you get another color as well.
Yeah, I can have them between pink and blue, everything
Yeah.
between and in the classic.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
the classic mean this, so when the hydrangea is turning into another color, after the fresh color, we call it first antique, and after that, further on, it will be called classic.
Okay. So Normally, it's the other way around. If you have something old, then it's a classic, and when it's really old, then it's antique. But it's a little bit different.
It's coming basically from. I know a few. If I talk to people in Japan and they want antiques, they really want like 50% of the fresh color and 50% of the classic color. That's really popular over.
Okay. Rekka is saying a spike so pretty, very seldom to find on the auction.
Yeah, we keep them very limited, and we got like 2 growers in Holland that are growing them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really small market because it's not like there are some people that saying, yeah, it's really special, but some people just prefer the normal hydrangea, so it's like a niche market for it. It's not such a big one.
Yeah. And maybe it gives a less stem count as well if you grow it.
No. It's
Okay.
to a normal one. It's just not.
Yeah.
Just,
Actually, it's your father who's doing the breeding, right?
yeah, that's right. Yeah, the man is 79, so he's not the youngest anymore, but he's doing that with like for him it's like a hobby. He has
Yeah.
really green fingers and doing it with all of his energy, and I hope to have him in the company as long as possible. But it's not like if he would stop with it, then the breeding would stop, because I help also with him, and I got some team members that also willing to help.
Yeah.
But it's like people ask me a lot, like what happens when your father stops with it? I say then everything will go on. But at the moment, because we are now building a new company a few miles further, I got my hands full with the production and the building. So I'm really glad that my dad is here still to do the breeding at the moment. And,
Yeah. I can imagine. So, how long does it take the breeding from crossbreeding to finding something or testing something new and introducing it?
okay, now let me start with when you harvest the seeds. I have here a plant, as you can see. This is a seedling. This is one we
Yeah.
out and we selected because of its shape. You got really
Wow.
big petals, as you can see.
Yeah.
But I can show you there are fertile and sterile flowers on a hydrangea. Of course, the fertile flowers are the ones we use. These are inside the ball head, and these
Yeah.
are that are coming when we crossbreed this. Uh, it will turn into like a berry, and we harvest them and we dry it, and then we're going to make seed. We're going to make plants of it. But from the start, from putting this seed into the soil, and first selection that takes 1 year,
Yeah.
but really test it on its free flowering characteristics, because that's a really big aspect for us. That will take like 4 to 5 years. So
Okay.
5 years we can decide if we really introduce it or we just go for something else.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a very time-consuming project.
Yes, you got some products that have a much longer way from start to the end, but
Yeah.
4 to 5 years, then we know if something is good, yes or no.
Yeah. Wow. That's a long time. I
It's
mean,
a lot.
for
Continue the process, and you're into it a few years, then it is good to do. But it's really hard, when hard colors are popular, and
yeah.
then okay, now I'm going to get all the hard colors out, and after 5 years there's something else popular. You've done.
Yeah.
You have to put it in the fridge.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday there was a trend seminar of the Flower Council of Holland, and then they tell about the end of this year and maybe next year. But you have to think 5 years ahead.
That's a hard thing, but we
Yeah.
try to keep the influencers in mind, and see what they come up with. But basically, we are only looking at the growing characteristics, and after that we're looking at how it looks like, if it's really something different. So we got not only the beauty, but also the inside of the hydrangea. That's important to us.
Yeah. And actually the breeding or the whole growing of cut flowers of hydrangeas is quite new. I mean, that's not so old yet. So I think there's still a lot that can be done with crossbreeding.
Yes, for sure. If I see when we started in the 90s, there were only like 5 product coats on Flora Holland.
Yeah.
Pink, red, and white. And after a while, there were coming the names, the cultivar names. But it took a long time. And the list started with 10 varieties, but now it's almost 300. So you can imagine how fast this is going to.
Yeah, and you are doing the breeding and quite successful because in the top 10 there are some of your varieties, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That's really good. You already get advice. Cookie says more pastels, I think. He's also asking the variety you showed. There's a Mon Amour variety.
No, there's Mon Amour, but I can show you in a moment when we. I'll make a quick tour to the glass to the greenhouse and.
Yeah, hopefully we can still find Bartjan because in the greenhouse sometimes you cannot even find him. He is somewhere in between all the flowers over there. Just to give you an idea how long they can grow and how big the flowers are. I mean, it's amazing.
It's amazing, but also it's a challenge to get all the flowers from the flower bed into the shed where we make bunches.
Yeah.
It's quite a lot of labor, and yeah, it's also one thing, aspect of the hydrangea growing is that, like for example, with cut roses, you have every 7-8 weeks you have a flush of flowers, but we have only one. So that means that if you make a mess of this one flush, you have nothing. So it's really important that you keep every day your eyes on the crop. When it's a really sunny or hot day, you have to be there. You have to be in contact with your crops, so you know when something is wrong. You're immediately there and help the problem if there is a problem.
Yeah,
Most
you
of the
told. You
Sorry?
also told me that the hydrangeas have a memory, so if something
Yeah.
goes wrong halfway, you will see it in the end.
Yeah, and that it looks it sounds funny, but it's really true. When you mess up something, like in a late season or something, or you prune too early in autumn, winter time, and you can see it the next year. So they have like a memory, and you have to be very aware that when you make a mistake, it's not like you have it the next couple of weeks you have the problem, but sometimes you have even a year after it. You get
Wow.
so.
Yeah, that makes it challenging.
And it's not like we go on a week on a holiday in July or August. It's not the point here.
It's not possible to.
There are a
It's
lot
just,
of things go on, like the watering and the windows, everything. But you have to double check everything and be aware also with pests. And we do a lot of biological predators put in the greenhouse, and that works really well. But you have to be very accurate with mildew and spider mite and trips. That are 3 things that we have to be really careful with. And but that goes very well. We learned a lot the last couple of years. So yeah.
Yeah, and it's good that it's biological. Actually, the new greenhouse you are building is going to be environmental friendly, and you're not even going to use gas, if I'm right.
Yeah, you're right with that. Because I sold my company here and the Legmedijk last year, and I was not in the mood to stop with producing hydrangeas. We decided to look and find a spot where we could build new greenhouses. And we found this location last year, and we built. We started building late winter this season, and they're now. Maybe you can show the movie of this
Yeah,
greenhouse.
I'm
But
showing it now. That
what we are trying to achieve is producing hydrangeas without any consumption of gas, and be like energy neutral and use solar electricity. And the reason why we do that is that I think the future is going to be like we need to produce more, more nature friendly, and people will appreciate it and
yeah,
even ask for it. So yeah, we are jumping into this market and try to give a product that people desire.
yeah. And what you're building now, that's 3 hectares, right?
Yes, yeah. The whole location includes that's 7.5 hectares. But
Yeah.
I can I'm first building now phase 1. That's 3 hectares, and phase 2 in the near future I can build another 3, and
Okay.
then it will be really nice.
Yeah. One of your customers is saying hello, Marco Groot, Hilversum Boer USA. Hi guys, Bartjan, a great hydrangea grower. So I think it's a nice compliment.
Marco for a long time, and it's also a good friend.
Yeah. Cookie is asking your largest export market. Do you know where most of your flowers go?
There are a lot of flowers going to Japan, but for the farm market and the Middle East, um, that's a big market. But there are
Yeah.
also a lot of hydrangeas still stay in Germany and France, and even in the UK. We had quite a big market. So I will see how this turns out the next couple of months.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
there are a lot of countries we export to, and the
that's
nearby
great.
are very popular at the moment, because of the situation.
Yeah. Willie is saying when I was selling flowers in 2000, it was hard to give away hydrangeas. They did not last. But these days, they're a huge crop and so popular. Yeah, I think it also has to do a lot with the crossbreeding, Willie, that it's, like we said in the beginning, it's quite a young crop, or it's not long that people are already growing it like this.
Now there's
So,
a lot of things changed, and also by testing and finding out what's the best procedure to cut the flower and to bring it into the water, into the auction. There's a lot of testing being done, and we found out that some things we were doing were really bad for quality, and we skipped that and try to make a better product. And I think
yeah,
if I see I'm not only looking at me, but if I'm walking through the fridge in the auction and see what quality is coming now these days. Uh, if you see what we had like 15 years ago, there's a big difference. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah,
No.
and if you look at the Lysianthus, then you can see what's going to happen if your flowers are much stronger and much better.
Yeah.
I mean, Lysianthus 20 years ago, there was also a lot of problems with botrytis and things like that.
Yeah.
And now with the breeding, they got better varieties, and it's still getting more and more popular every day. So the hydrangea, here they come.
Yeah, I'm really glad that people see the quality of it, and it was a really good wedding and event flower, and
Yeah,
we were used to a lot of consuming for this market. At this moment, it's a little less, of course, because of the
yeah.
situation, Corona. But hopefully things will bloom up again later this year or next year.
Yeah. Talking about weddings, Cookie is asking, what's your favorite white variety?
Yeah, that's a good one. I got a few. Um, I'm showing one because I have one here left.
Okay.
You know, I had the Verena, the pink one,
Yeah,
mutation, and it's a white one, a white Verena. Now, you can imagine that when you have a good quality pink Verena, and all the customers know what they get, then you can expect that when you have a white Verena, people have trust in it because they know the pink one will last long, have less problems with transport and everything. So this is one of my favorites.
yeah.
But from this season, last season we had the introduction. We have also a new one. It's called Allure. That's this one. And here I
It's
got
really big.
some really big expectation of. And it's not only the flower, but the leaves are really dark green and shiny.
Yeah,
And it has some really good characteristics. The normal suitable white hydrangea that has been grown like for number one for years. That was the snowball, and there could be some problems with it sometimes. Because hydrangeas don't like when the weather changes, then they can push the cells inside the petals. They can break,
yeah.
and you see it immediately, but the next day. So that's really a problem. And yeah, we are also testing if new varieties are doing it better. And the Allure is a variety that's really much better in this. So the hydrangea will still be just full white. If it turns into classic, it has no spots at all. It is clearly green.
Okay. So it's
That's a
called Allure.
Allure. Yeah, and you got a picture from it, I think.
I don't know. Maybe I've got it, but
Now
I can't see it. Good. Maybe we can see it in the greenhouse. Yeah, it's. I mean, and the size is fabulous.
yeah,
Uh,
very good.
one huge hydrangea is an arrangement by itself. I mean, it says it all. That people, yeah,
Good eye catcher. Yeah,
yeah, for sure. With snowball, and that's what a lot of designers are telling as well. They have some problems when there's a wedding outside, that the white hydrangea can get some brown spots because of the sunlight.
yeah.
Do you know if Allure is better with that, or is it stronger?
And it's not only that I have the problem, but the designers or the ones that are using my flowers have the same
Yeah,
problem. And what I mean is when there's like a shock for the plant, then the cells are not strong enough to just take the shock, and then they break. And when they break, and the sun is coming in, then they get sunburned, like
yeah.
they get spots in it. So we try to get a better variety that have less problems with this.
Yeah. So actually, if you would advise an event designer, don't be afraid and get them directly from the cooler to the outside where it's 30 degrees. It's better to get them adopted to the warmth a bit.
Yeah, I think that's a good advice to give. Yes,
Yeah, yeah,
exactly.
because that's something everybody loves, the hydrangeas, especially also for weddings.
Yeah.
That's
But
why.
now you're talking about weddings, and we got also a really nice one. This between pink and white. It's called Sweet Verena, and there's like a really small pink blush on it.
Yeah,
Really popular for the wedding industry. We've got a
it's
really nice.
beautiful.
These are one of the first flowers that I bring this year, and later on it turns a little bit more pink because now they're a little bit pale. But it's also depending on the sunlight and the heat. So we're trying to achieve this good color. But yeah, you have to start somewhere. So now we got this.
Yeah.
But
So the more intense the sun, the more color you get.
the more intense color you get. But
Okay.
too much sun will also give sunburn. So you need to be very delicate with this. It's not like you just pump it up, open the screens and come in with the sun. No, it's really important that you keep everything in mind and don't overdo things.
Yeah. Now that there are no weddings at the moment, is white then more difficult to sell?
Exactly. Yeah, we can see that in the market. White is is a product that's in a normal condition, in normal year, is really popular at this moment for weddings. And because there is no wedding at all at this moment, the market is rough. It's not so easy. It's not easy to sell hydrangeas at the moment. Yeah.
So it's a big shout out to all the florists out there.
Yeah.
White is can be bought for a great price. So take advantage of it. You mean I can see it's a bouquet on itself.
Yeah.
So
one hydrangea, some ferns in it, and some grass, and you got a really nice bouquet. Maybe a few peonies in it. It's a really good time for it. So it's wonderful.
Yeah, you actually on your website, you've got a new website. You also have some inspiration with a lot of nice pictures of hydrangeas. So that looks really great. I can quickly show some. Even people walking. I think is it your greenhouse?
No,
these pictures.
It's not in my greenhouse.
Okay.
These are pictures that are made with. We got like an organization. It's called Hydrangea World. And growers in Holland give like 0.1% of their income of the hydrangeas. They put in one big budget, and we things like this. So a photo shoot, and we make brochures. We make a good website where people can see how to treat hydrangeas, what are the new varieties, etc. So these are examples of these pictures that we have made with the whole community, with the hydrangea community in Holland.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I mean, as one grower, it's difficult to promote yourself. I mean, you have to compete not only with flowers, but with a lot of other products. And together, you can do much more.
Yeah, exactly. Inspiration is what people need, and seeing is buying. I sometimes have people over from the auction, some people foreign countries that come here with the export companies here in Aalsmeer. And when these people come in the greenhouse, especially in July, August, September, October, and there's a lot of flowers blooming, it's overwhelming for these guys. And they go home and put everything on the social media. Look where I have been, and that's working for itself. It's really good to show people in real lifetime how hydrangeas feel and smell and look, and seeing is buying, I will say.
Yeah, and it's about the inspiration and also the story behind it. I mean, that's very important for a lot of people as well. James is saying facebook.com Hydrangea World. Thank you, James, for telling us. So you can check out all the pictures over there as well. Rekka saying, I buy lots of hydrangeas every week. My favorite is the white Verena. That's great to hear.
I hope you have no complaints with it. I think it's a really good hydrangea. It's the same as the pink one. It's quite similar, only the color.
Yeah, but if you look pink, you can make blue and the other way around. But white, you cannot play with any pH or something.
White is like an albino. It has no color inside the petals or in the cell. It is just it's missing something.
Yeah,
that's the reason why it's white for us, visual.
Yeah, it's your quality is also. I mean, it's unbelievable. I found this picture. Look at the. Don't look at the nails, but just look at the stems.
My nails are not as but
yeah, but a grower with clean fingers, that for me is always a bit strange. So that's
glad to hear this.
Yeah. Rekka saying no problem ever. So she's really happy with the Verena. She buys all the colors. Johan is a bit of an old timer. He's asking, is Bodensee still being used? There was a suitable variety in the 1800s, 1980s.
It's still there. It's been growing by some growers that are growing not in containers. They're not growing in containers, but in the full soil.
Yeah.
And they just harvest every year the crops, and Yeah, it's a good oldie. What can I say about it? It's a nice variety, but yeah, we have better at the moment.
Yeah. Well, I think it's like with a lot of different flowers as well. Florists are known to the name Bodensee. That's why they are asking for it.
Yeah,
I mean, and that's also a job for all the exporters, all the wholesalers out there. Learn your customers or teach your customers there's something new, something better as well.
it's
And
some to put a new variety inside the market. It's really hard.
yeah,
People have trust in it, and no complaints, of course. And when you have bought the last couple of years some good varieties, and you know that your customers will be satisfied, it's really difficult to make a choice to go over to another variety. I can understand that, but I think to make a good market, it's a really big achievement, and it's really important that the wholesalers also try something new and just try and test it. And maybe sometimes it's not like what your customers are asking for, but you can try and make a difference
yeah,
in the market. It's really important, I think, in my opinion.
yeah. You really, I think, as a florist, but also as a wholesaler or an exporter, you need to tell about something new every week,
Yes,
because the standing order is there. They buy their chrysanthemums, they buy their roses, and what can you tell about a white chrysanthemum? The same one they buy every week. You
yeah,
need to show something new. You need to bring in something new and tell why it's better. Ask the grower why is it better, and let people test it. Yeah, and maybe it's a little bit more expensive, but if the head size is 2 times bigger, and it's worth the money.
exactly. That's what I think.
Yeah. Actually, if you talk about hydrangeas, I can see your eyes light up, and and you
Yeah,
really like the product.
yeah, it's really
And I even saw that in the weekend when you're not in the greenhouse, you take the whole family and you go and look for some hydrangeas in the city.
special what you now show. That is the Bijenkorf on the Dam in Amsterdam, and there was a big opening, a reopening of the Bijenkorf, and we make like with the Hydrangea World in association with the Bijenkorf, we make this arrangement, and I've been bringing these hydrangeas to there. They're all from my company, and
Okay.
it and also because a lot of people are still talking about this because it was going viral in the big way, and there were a lot of tourists at the moment in that moment in Amsterdam, and even the potplant commission, they have also have the same as Hydrangea World, but then for the potplant. When you ask them what was the biggest success, then they're all telling me this story about this Bijenkorf, and it's not even
Okay.
for the pot hydrangea, but yeah,
Yeah.
it made a lot of
Yeah, I mean that's the way to go now. We interviewed a woman from the United States, Cindy Henauer, and she's saying it's very important to give your message feed to show the people your product. Not everybody is coming into your greenhouse, but the dam in Amsterdam. If somebody comes to Holland, they will be there,
yeah,
and if to show your product over there, that's great.
yeah, yeah. That was a really big success, and yeah, we're willing to do that again, but it's hard to get this cooperation
Yeah.
with yeah. But we will see.
Uh, Actually, Cookie is asking, do you work or consult with growers in Kenya? Because you're a breeder, of course.
Yeah, we do that. Yeah, yeah, we got some cooperation with Marginpar, for example.
Okay. Yeah.
But it's good to tell you that the hydrangeas that are suitable for growing in Holland is a much different climate than in Kenya. So you have to, if you want to do it good as a breeder, you need to go to Kenya and make there the selections. That
Yeah.
would be the best. But what we are now doing, we are really into the Dutch market. The Dutch market is for us really important because we're also producing our own
Yeah.
breeded ranges, and we got a lot of colleagues that are screaming for new varieties, and here in Holland. So that is our basic market. And maybe in the future we will expand and make some more more suitable hydrangea varieties that are growing well in this climate, like in Kenya.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think you're at the moment you're busy enough with building the new greenhouse and everything.
Yeah.
So you said we could see a little bit of the greenhouse. Maybe yeah, it's nice to have a little bit of a tour. Be careful.
Okay. No, that's okay.
So actually, we're gonna jump on a Segway, I think now.
Yeah, I got a Segway because I don't like walking back forward 20,000 times a day. Now here you can see a crop that is going to flower in August, September.
Yeah.
This is the Verena. You can see some color starting with to come.
Yeah.
With the early flowers. I can show you a little bit about the selection greenhouse we have here. Here is the hobby greenhouse of my father, where he's making new varieties and where we select them and put small beds.
Yeah. And those are over there for 4 years.
Here we got a big wall of hydrangea varieties. And here is where the breeding process is starting. So here we find the mother and the father and get them together and crossbreed with them. Here we got example of crop of sweet Verena.
So it's a sunny day
These
now in
flowers are
Holland.
all
So
standing on old wood. That's the reason why they're already blooming.
Okay.
You can see.
Yeah.
But the head size is enormous, and there's a really good market for it. And the phase life is not bad. It's not that it influences the phase life. This old wood. It was a thing that like 15 years ago was been. What people expected and what people say, but it's not. After testing, we found out that it's just because it's the earliest flowers of the year with the old wood.
Yeah.
It's most of the times also the most weak ones for phase life, and later on, and then you have no more old wood. Then the phase life is always better and better and better. That's the reason why.
Yeah.
Now this is the white Verena. Show you some. Let's see.
Unbelievable. They look
Nice
great.
pure white flowers.
Yeah. Actually, Rekka's saying she visited your greenhouse with Flora Fundamentals. It's so beautiful.
Hello, Rika. Nice to hear you. Here we get the Mon Amour. It's a really nice red one.
Yeah. Wow.
The nice thing of this hydrangea is it produces a lot of hydrangeas. So the production is really good for the grower. And then the vase life is also good and it's really sturdy. And when I make this one blue, it's not really getting blue, but purple. And I got an example of this also. You need to go on a little bit.
Okay. So this is a real modern grower. A modern grower in Holland. Normally they take a bicycle, but you are on a Segway.
So this is the Mon Amour when you make it blue. It's not really blue, but more purple. So the darker pink the hydrangea is, the darker blue or more purple they get when you give them aluminium.
Wow, they look great.
Let's see. Now this is the early greenhouse. It has been harvested quite a lot already. I'll show you also a new variety of us. This is called Casanova. It's also a really big pedaled hydrangea.
Yeah. Wow, beautiful.
And we got some more Mon Amour coming up here.
And that's you're talking about an early greenhouse and a
This is
later
also
greenhouse.
Allure.
Okay. Wow.
Verena
They are
Blue.
huge.
There are a lot of flowers being picked already. And this is Challenge, also an all-time favorite.
Beautiful.
These containers are all for the new plants that we are making for the new greenhouse. This is Marsepein. It's also a really good one.
Yeah.
Good Milka Hydrangea. And here is a sea of flowers of Verena Blue.
Beautiful. So the new greenhouse is bigger
So
than
that's
the
a
old
quick
one?
tour.
Yeah.
A quick tour through the greenhouse, John.
Yeah.
I hope you and all the viewers have enjoyed it.
Yeah, I've got some questions. Are any of the varieties fragrant? Do they have a scent? Can you hear us? I don't think you can hear. Oh, and he's gone. So, and let's see. Yeah, okay. And yeah, we're back again. I've got some questions of the people. Are any of the varieties fragrant? Do they have a scent?
A scent? No, hydrangeas, in my opinion, have no scent. Yeah, they have a scent when they are getting antique, and there are a lot of when the flowers are open, and you got like a lot of milk coming out of the hydrangea.
Yeah.
Then you can have a little bit of a scent, but it's not like you really got a really like a rose fragrance. No, that's not the point with hydrangea. No.
Yeah. James Roberts is saying, great way to do a video using the Segway.
Yeah, that's,
One hand in the pocket. Yeah.
it goes quite fast, and you get a nice idea about how things are going.
Yeah. No, it looks really great, but I don't think you heard that as well. I said the screens are closed now because it's quite a sunny day in Holland today.
Yeah. I can show you what's the weather in Holland. It's
Oh, that's great.
really shiny weather, and we also got like this this substance on the roof, like chalk, which
Yeah.
is already reflecting the direct sunlight for a bit. So we keep the heat out, and like 50% of the light can come in.
Okay.
And with the screens, we can also influence the humidity in the greenhouse, and that's also really important. So we get the good quality we would like to achieve. Yeah.
Okay, great. I would like to ask the people if they have any questions for Bartjan, because I think I learned a lot already what you do and see your passion about the product. I mean, that's great. I think, yeah, and everybody knows that it's difficult to introduce new varieties. Yeah, just keep on posting them on your Facebook as well and ask people for their opinion.
Yeah, we also do some testings. For example, with the Allure, we
Yeah.
brought a company and say, here you got some boxes of flowers, or you got some flowers, and you can put them in the box and just send them to your clients, and let's do them what they used to do with it, and let's see what's their opinion. And it works quite good, because then you get trust in the product, and also the customers feel that it's been taken seriously, that the grower even takes the time and the opportunity to learn from how this process is going on.
Yeah. Got a question from James Roberts. How does the cooling process work?
The cooling process.
Yeah.
I think what's been meant is that when we cut the flowers, then they will be make bunches of it and put in the water, and then we bring it in the cooler, Is that what's been meant?
I will ask James. I think it's also because of the pot plants. They put them in a cold storage, of course, to spread when they flower. Maybe
Okay.
that's the part. But let's ask James. James, please let us know what you mean exactly. Willie is asking, do you ship with a bag on the stem for hydration?
No, we don't do it. It's not necessary. But it's really necessary to first, when you cut the flower, first have them 6 hours in the cooler before you export them without any water in a box, for example.
Okay.
So they need to be hydrated. And after that, then you can do with it whatever you want to do with it. But there were
Okay.
ideas of growers that they say, oh, it's a lot of volume hydrangea. We want to bring them to the auction in boxes. It's a nice idea, and I would like to cooperate with this idea. But you have to be really clear that they first need to be hydrated. So you have to put them in the cooler in buckets, then take them out, put them in the box, and then bring them to the auction or to the export company. If you don't do, then it will be a failure for sure. It's really needed. Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, if you receive the hydrangeas, cut them as well and put them directly on water. I mean, that's the most important part.
Also tell the consumer, please, that if the hydrangea would collapse or something happens with it, just take an inch off, put them back in the water, give it fresh water. It will come up and stand for a week longer.
Yeah, it's a very strong flower.
Yeah, you can do a lot. You can save it a lot of times if if something goes wrong with it. Just take an inch or two off, and it will come back.
Yeah. Okay. James is saying no for flowering.
Now for flowering.
Yeah.
Now, what we sometimes do is we give it cold if we what okay, we got two different hydrangeas. We got hydrangeas for late season and for early season. If we want to have hydrangeas for early season, we need to have this piece of old wood, and this piece of old wood is made in summertime, in the last summer.
Yeah.
And the flower bud will stop growing like in autumn, like in September. And after it is closed, the leaves will fall off. And then the hydrangea, I think James means this, it needs 1,000 hours of cold before it will go back growing and give this flower after 12 weeks. So that's a process that can be done. But it works here automatically because we get just winters that are cold enough to give this rest, this winter rest. We call it winter rest. So we don't have to really put the hydrangeas in the cooler, but for the pot plants, it's been done because they want to have early flowers. They want to start in February. Then they have to bring them in the cooler already in September or October last season to give them this 1,000 hours of coldness to get in the flower. Flowers.
Yeah, that's with the pot plants, and so they can spread their season as well. I mean, on your plants, one is already flowering, and the other one will take a couple of weeks more before it's flowering.
I just take these pot plants out of the cooler and put them in the greenhouse, and so on and so on and so on. When they make a round and they need new plants, they get them out of the cooler, and that's how they do it.
Willie is saying, I was told to submerge them into a bathtub underwater if they have shriveled up. Is that an old idea?
There are a lot of ideas. I hear some people from the States that they came over here, and they say they slam it with a hammer, the back of the stems, and the pen. And what they do there is they peel out like this the stuff inside. They peel it out and give it like a diagonal cutting, like we all normal cut flowers. So there are a lot of different techniques. What I prefer is when you get your flowers from your wholesaler and get it into your flower shop or whatever, you first take an inch off. Give it fresh water with flower food. And that's the best thing you can do. Things like underwater cutting and so on, I don't really believe in this. I think it's just what you really need to do is cut it off and put it in fresh water. and in the fridge it will come up faster than when you put it outside. But that will be the best way to lift it up and give it a good face life.
Yeah, really, what you're saying, put it in a bathtub. That's something people try to do with more flowers. In the beginning, it looks like it's more fresh. It's sucking up water, but it's not absorbing water through the leaves or the flower or whatever. The only thing it does, the flower, when it sucks up the water, it needs to evaporate as well, and it can't evaporate in the water or under the water. So maybe it looks in the beginning it looks much fresher, but you will also probably get some problems with botrytis if you're not careful. So be careful with that thing to do. What do they most? They're somewhat like lilacs. Yeah, lilacs, tulips as well, James. Tulips also, or the bulbs need a cold period. So yeah, it's a seasonal product.
Yeah, I agree with the lilacs. Is almost the same story. It also need like a period of coldness to come into the blooming. What they do with lilacs, they can force them by high temperatures, really high
Yeah.
temperatures, like 30 degrees Celsius. That's different with hydrangeas. They really need this cold time, this 1,000 hours.
Yeah. Okay. Jan from Bartjan is saying, or John Flower, as we all know him on the internet. But Jan and John, you're taking care of the whole Hortensia world. I don't know if we're taking care of the whole Hortensia world, but we try to tell and share our love of the hydrangeas. Willie is saying, okay, I will stick to bathing without flowers. I think that's a good idea. Okay. Before I want to the end the interview, I would like to ask you, Bartjan, is there something you want to add or say to the people?
Yeah, especially for the foreign people that are watching now. If you're in the neighborhood of Aalsmeer and you're at the auction or something, you're always very welcome to visit our company. I would be delightful to show you what we are producing here, how we do it, and tell you more about it. So you're welcome. If you want to, you can come every time. I hopefully been doing business next year in the new location successfully, and there will be a big flower market open again.
Yeah, yeah, of course, for sure. I think you will be very busy next year with a lot of weddings postponed. So people have some more money to spend on flowers because they have an extra year to save money.
Yeah, hopefully that will be the case, and that will be really nice to work in a new company with all the new techniques, and that will be a really nice story to tell.
Yeah, and a great climate neutral greenhouse as well. I mean, let's not forget that part.
Yeah, that's just an opportunity we needed to take, and
Yeah.
so
You already got the first one. James Roberts is saying going to take you up on the offer of a visit.
okay.
So yeah, great. It was really fun and informative seeing all the hydrangeas, you telling about it, you sharing your passion. So yeah, thank you very much for that.
It was a pleasure to invite me, and I'm really delighted that I was in the show, and I know there are a lot of big flower industry guys watching, and so I want to tell everybody thank you for watching, and I hope it was informative and you had something about it. And,
Yeah, no, it was really great. So thank you very much. Tomorrow is a day off in Holland, so tomorrow there's no flower circus talks. On Friday we've got Birgit Seeman. She's going to tell us all about packaging and trends in the flower industry for the coming year. So I'm really looking forward to that as well. What's new in packaging and which colors, which new packaging possibilities. So that's what we hear on Friday. Thank you everybody for watching, and hope to see you on Friday.